Good morning, Mike's Diabetes World. Well, I got my old selfie stick back out. The other one's fine if you're in a crowd, but I like using this one to broadcast. And it's a sunny day. So, visits to the doctor. Are you prepared? We go and we get ready for our doctor's visits, and we've got to ask ourselves, are we really prepared? Now, I once had a doctor, Dr. Tildesley, and when I went to him, now looking back at myself, I honestly was a jerk, pure and simple. And I never really, I was a know-it-all. I didn't need anything. Oh, right there. Sorry. And people were, yes, and people spoke highly of him, and I just thought I knew better. And most kids and young people feel that way, and they don't really click with some doctor or some healthcare professional along the way. And I didn't really start to understand where he was coming from. And I met his son when I was working with Cub Scouts. And we met up with another group. And his son was there. Now, how he interacted with his son and everything gave it much more of a respect. And I kind of said, well, if I had had the chance to do it and knew more about him. But no, I was it. I knew everything. But he did teach me one thing, which I have tried to encompass, whether it's going to my diabetic nurse, whether it's going to see him. I don't really do it with the lab, but I ask a question, and the question is, I always tried to stump them. Couldn't think of the word, and this works fairly well. And it's easier now with the internet, but when I was in the hospital, especially, it was easy when I was in St. Paul's, because I could scoot away on a pass and go read in the library about it. And it was an idea for me to learn a bit more. And I think he did that because I thought I knew everything. And if I came up with a question, when I can stump him, then, things came a lot better. And since the time that I've learned and have come up with questions for the doctors, there's always one question. And sometimes, excuse me, it could be a question that I know the answer to. But some just set it out and ask them. This, or last year when I was in the hospital, I had interns that would come. Was it interns or residents? I think it was a resident. And I would always stump them. So, go with a couple of questions in your mind. If you read something that you don't quite understand, ask about it. The whole experience is supposed to be not a one-sided issue. It's supposed to be interactive between you and your doctor, you and the dietitian. So go with questions. If you're going to refer, saying, oh, well, my blood sugar, the last week, let me see, I had 4 lows. Well, when were the lows? Make sure you go with the data that is needed. Sorry, Nico's leash was a little tight. But take a look at your data. If you're manually writing it down, make sure they're complete. And I told this story before. When I was diagnosed, I was seeing a GP. I didn't even really know that there were diabetic specialists. I didn't know. Well, I had a doctor when I was in the hospital. And the one where he got mad at me and everything. But I didn't know he was a diabetic doctor. But I just wrote down and I typed things out, and he got mad at me and saying, oh, well, that I shouldn't be sitting there copying everything down. I should be coming up with documents that are true and not sitting there just typing up, making up numbers. Do you think for 3 months I would sit there and make up all these numbers? But you need to be prepared. You need to know your numbers. You need to know what you're doing differently. Now, so often, the doctor will ask, did you do something different? And we'll sit there and go, no, I did nothing different. Well, if you've done something different, it's not going to be the end of the world. Tell them. If you screwed up, and trust me, we screwed up, but we want to be like the perfect diabetic. If you screw up, tell them, so they're not going to start thinking that you're doing something just every day, and you could have miscalculated your carb count, or we know things. But make sure you're going with information. Go with the numbers. Go with your numbers. Go with your explanations. If you learned something from what you did and you came out, you had a low, Well, I forgot to eat, or I took my insulin, they didn't serve the food on time. Sometimes we forget, and the easiest thing seems to stump us. And, we look back and say, oh, I should have done that. Well, how many times have you thought in your mind, oh, yeah, well, oh, if I had said that or if I had done that? It's the same. You need to learn how to understand and come up with qualified questions for your doctor. You will learn, and if you have control of your diabetes, it can mean you can react, and sometimes you will react in the wrong, well, maybe not the wrong way, but it could have been done better. And your doctor's appointments won't be as stressful because you are prepared. Sorry, Boy Scouts, I stole your little sorry, bumpy here. No. Now, for parents, this could be a great thing to teach your kids. Do you have the numbers? Do they review their blood sugars? Do you sit down with them and go over the blood sugars and see what went wrong, what happened? Or do you just, oh, here, doctor, here's all the things. You do your magic and make me feel better. Well, it's a two-way street. Many people, and I've said this before, and I think in this video, people seem to think that, oh, doctors know all the answers, and I should just leave it up to them. But if you've read the book, Diabetes for Dummies, some of that information is getting a little bit old now. But what I like is where it says that you are the star of the show. And your doctor may be the producer, or your GP may be a director. It all has different relationships. And you should buy it here. I'll put in a picture. But you could come up with, well, I thought this would happen. And if you just say, well, I don't know, doc, come up with the answers. There are days you're not going to be the perfect diabetic. There are going to be days you're going to try to be, and it just doesn't work out. But don't, I don't know. It's kind of like the kids who broke the mother's vase. I don't know. Well, sometimes you may have to know, and you may have to admit, doctors know this. And a lot of times they just, you want them to believe that you've done everything. There's times where you've gone out and, I don't know, gone to dinner and you had that dessert, but you didn't count for it. Part of being prepared is Well, you know your doctor, you know your dietitian, you know what they kind of like, and they always come out with the same sort of questions sometimes. They're expecting feedback, and for you just to sit there and go, I don't know. Hmm. So you need to really be prepared. You need to learn and to grow. If you're a new diabetic and you don't know, that's great. But if you've been a diabetic for a while, you should know some things. And some doctors, they're getting them less and less, are trying to have it where you take control. And it's kind of like parent teachers conferences. When I went to school, your parents went with the teacher, and that was it. And nowadays, there's a difference happening. But don't think, oh, well, my doctor will do it all, because less and less of them aren't. For your first year, they just might do it until you learn. But once you've learned and you have the basics down, you can start guessing, or not guessing. You can gather your information and formulate a plan for yourself based on the information your doctor has given you. So be prepared, take control of your health, and we'll see you later. Have a great day.